Yo, what's up everyone? It won't be a long one, but at least there is one. Welcome everyone, good to have you here. Another live stream, of course, a lot later than usual, but of course the YouTubers may not know, but and the Telegrammers, but the people in Discord have probably seen my message earlier today, which I'll probably shortly repeat here on YouTube as well, so that all of you are at least up to date, because man, I got so much going on. It's not always easy at the moment. Up, boom. So of course here, that's the message. So sorry for the delay, much to do, outside content and trading, and I'm not really able to keep up too much with everything that is happening as well, especially with regards also to administrative stuff, which has to do because of us moving to France. My wife being South African needs a visa. There's lots that needs to be done for her to actually be able to live in the country, and then setting up my business, and then there's many other things going on in the background that's not even trading YouTube content related. Discord messages that I answered earlier today when sitting in the tram actually, and I find it very difficult to actually just take some time off and develop myself as well, like read a book, do a course of something, you know what I mean? It's basically running from one thing in the other. So this afternoon when I was doing some other things, I just didn't really have the priority, I suppose, because you can always make time, but at that moment in time I just had a lot of other things to do, and still have, because probably it's not going to be finished in the upcoming few days, but it's like ticking off the boxes. I just got to very quickly try to tick off some of that stuff. So but of course in the morning there will always be a YouTube video, but yeah, with the stream today it is delayed, it is later than usual, sorry for that, but yeah, there's so much happening in the background. Of course, you know, life happens that especially when you move countries, it's not always easy, and it takes a lot of time, so it's not easy to combine it with trading, other work stuff, content stuff, Discord stuff, messages stuff, email stuff, administration stuff. So yeah, anyway, we're gonna cover the chart, right? So we had quite some volatility. We touched the 618, nice move to the downside. We didn't take the low, we did touch the 886. However, this move to the downside, I don't really feel a multi 1-2 in here just yet. I would need to see a very big wave 3 to the downside, but if this is a multi 1-2, that wave 3 should be 89k low. Like I don't know, I'm not really feeling a multi 1-2 locally, but I'll go over the different scenarios. Can you open your chart? Is it off? Oh, it is. Yeah, I was probably doing some stuff earlier today, but yeah, welcome everyone. It will be a short live stream today. I'll probably just analyze the chart, have a little chat, but then I got to get out and probably have an early night, go to bed, wake up tomorrow fresh and early, because it's going to be another very long day. Maybe a Band-Aid. Welcome, Rahul, Chiliman, what's up? Legendario, Trading Queen, good to have you here. How's the husband? Mari, Zalo, what's up? The real Isabella Cat, welcome. Kanashimi. Afternoon, I was still at work. I guess there's always a benefit for someone, no? Thanks, Gluka. Appreciate it, man. Cheers, Kanashimi. Can you open your chart? I did now. Yeah, I did. Okay, so I think it's what are we gonna do? I think we're just mainly gonna focus on this part of the chart. No, I'm actually gonna include the daily. I will include the daily as well. 1 second here. Secondo, just checking something real quick. I didn't analyze too much today after the morning update that I did. Okay, yes. So let's go to the daily time frame first and start there. I just want to show you this scenario here. Remains the higher. So look, this for weeks has been the highest probability scenario, right? So 1 2 1 2 3 4 5. Looking for that 4 5. Now at the moment, the high that we have here is very tricky to count as the end of a wave 5. In other words, I preferably do not like to count this high as the high of a wave of 5. I either like to count this as a wave B, wave X, or at least a corrective structure, but not the end of a wave 5. Now, wave 5 has to be a 5-wave impulsive structure, right? So inside a wave 5, you need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And locally here, if you want to count a 5-wave structure here to finish your 5 at the top, right, just doesn't look nice. So if we zoom in, you then need to have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but your 4 is too deep. All right, your 4 hit the, oops, that's the dot. Your 4 hit the 0.618. So that we do here. And that is not what we like to see in a wave 4, right? It invalidates a wave 4. However, at the same time, this is a very long range in time. You can't count this as a nice wave 4 compared with any of the ranges here that you want to attempt to try and count as a wave 2. Right? It's tricky. So here we can count a 1 2, and then we had two more 1 2s down here. So of course we can count a 1 2 3 4 5, right? 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 4 5 4 5, and then eventually 4 5, and then you finish your first impulse, correction down, second leg. But then this is very deep. It's either too long in time compared to any of the 2s here, or it's too deep to count it as a 4 compared to this 2. So in other words, right, I prefer an impulse here to be finished, or, by the way, a W and look for an XY. But at least a finished structure, right? I'll go over the 2 that I'm looking for at one of these lows. And this high has a higher probability of being a corrective top, which basically means you're going to take out that high again at a later stage. So the bias is bullish, and it doesn't matter if locally you move to the downside. It remains the same, that on the higher time frame, because I'm actually talking about the daily, even though I'm zooming in, you're still looking for higher, right? And unrelated to local volatility and local price action. So if we then zoom in to the, let's cover the 4-hour time frame. Your most bullish scenario is that you have a finished 3-wave structure, right? So your wave 4 on the daily, just popping it on again, right, would be finished at that low. That's your most bullish scenario. So you have a WXY double zigzag. That's the end of your wave 4. And you now look for price to continue towards the upside. Right, so you want to see an impulse to the upside, which is then what you see here. Right. Now, in this case, I actually do prefer, and let me remove the polyline just for the purpose of not creating FUD and whatnot, because at the moment, I'll explain. Right? This doesn't really look like a great multi-1-2 to me. And if this is a multi-1-2, then if we are going to get a wave 3 and this is your start multi-1-2, that's going to be 3, 4, 1, 2s, maybe you're going to just deep dive all the way down to 89. And you're going to basically have the bearish scenario, which we're not yet talking about. So in the bullish scenario here, preferably you count a 5-wave structure. Right? This looks good. Looks good. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you do have an expanding diagonal in a 5, which of course, expanding diagonals, never ideal. But it does give you a good way to end an impulse to the upside, where this is your 2, this is your 4, relatively similar in size. That's nice. And then you had this weekend, very complex, fucked up, annoying structure to the upside that eventually, once the weekend basically ended, took out the high and got us moving down to, guess what? Support. Now, if you watch the video that I had on Friday, I mentioned in the video that there was a daily naked point of control here that was very interesting. Unfortunately, this happened at night, so my ass was asleep, unfortunately. But we touched this support, so of course it's already been hit. Not really great support anymore. But this is the way I would like to count an impulse to the upside. right? And then either you finish your wave 2 here, right? Or it's not yet finished, right? Now, because we took out the high, if you have an unfinished wave 2, then the one way to look at an unfinished 2 would be an ABC, right? It's a typical flat structure. The problem with your wave C, however, right, if you count a 3 wave A, 3 wave B, 5 wave C, the problem with C is all the overlap and all the immediate bounces to look at a wave 2, right? So we are talking about a wave 2 here. So this is going to be very low time frame stuff. First of all, this move down, right? Many people love to count this as an impulse to the downside, and I guess you can try and count an impulse in here, but it would be a diagonal if that's the case. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, like a 5-wave structure. This would be your 2, right? So you have a 1, 2, and then what? You know what I mean? You need a 3, a 4, and a 5, but then this has to be your 3, which is of course incredibly ugly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like what are we even trying to do here, right? We also hit the 6, 1, 8 here, inside the wave 3. So if you want to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, and then another 4, 5. So it didn't make sense. And if this is a wave C being a diagonal, so then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then whatever, 5 needs to be there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? You're going to be having a expanding diagonal. Like that's going to be your diagonal structure. So it's going to be 5, 3, 5. Correction, because an ending diagonal always needs 3 waves in all of the waves, right? Wave 1, wave 2, 3, 4, 5. They all need to be 3-wave structures. So this then has to be your wave 2. This is your 3, 4, 5. Now that is the only way that I would be able to count this as a 5-wave structure, meaning an expanding ending diagonal. Oh, that's the wrong channel. Is the only way that I can make this a 5. And it is important because it of course influences the count. Is this a 3 or is this a 3 or a 5? Now a 3 would then be A, B, and then you need to count a wave C to the downside, but then you get the same problem. It's always going to be a diagonal. So yeah, low time frame stuff. Okay, back to the higher time frame. Make our own life easy. So inside wave 2, at the moment this move to the downside, if we would be looking for a flat A, B, C, then this being a wave C it's not great. You need a multi 1, 2 here. So you need a 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, maybe another 1, 2, and then you get the biggest 3 that you've ever seen, easily below 89K if you get a 3 here. Now, alternatively, this starts to actually, like, especially of course if you move up a bit more, but you got to consider a double zigzag down here, which is a WXY instead of a multi 1, 2. If this breaks in a multi 1, 2, happy 80K again. You're gonna like, because if that, yeah, you have 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. You need a very big 3 and then a 4, 5, 4, 5, 4, 5, 4, 5. So there's low probability at that moment. You're still looking at a 2. You're going to be looking for a bearish scenario in that case, where you'll preferably look for targets below your wave A. So let's summarize, because I spoke about the low time frames and maybe I shouldn't really have done that, but by all means, the probabilities here are higher that this is a corrective top, not an impulsive top. In other words, probabilities are low for this high to be counted as a wave 5. This high has a higher probability to be a wave B or a wave X, which therefore means that in general, the probabilities are still higher to take out this high at a later stage, unrelated to local price action, right? Unrelated to local price action. Now, the local price action, right? Am I gonna... Okay, so that's the bias. So we set the stage, I suppose. And then individual scenarios is the 1, 2, I don't really like a flat anymore. ABC, gotta be honest. But 1, 2. And then bearish. I don't have this on my chart, but we've been talking about this in gold earlier today. Let me just put it on here. Make this do. Okay, so okay, wait. Alternatively, there you go. We're looking at this. Now, this would be a sub-degree count of a flat, which is bearish. As then you're looking for an ABC or a WXY, and then you go back down, preferably take the low of A, right? That's most common. So yes, the bias on the high time frame is higher to take out this high, but there's not yet, yeah. How can I explain the what I'm looking for? Okay, I'll make it myself a bit easier again. First of all, if you take out 107k, probabilities are higher to take the high. And this move to the downside is counted as a corrective structure, right? You got to know, let's make it easy for ourselves instead of me losing myself in the details. These are currently the two most important levels on the chart. If you take out 106.9, probabilities are higher, you're going to take out the all-time high. If you take out this low first, then the probabilities are higher to move at least down to 94.6 as the next level on the chart. Now, what type of scenarios do we have to keep in mind here locally? Now, this move to the upside, as mentioned, either counted as a 5, 3, 5. Now, I have to be honest, I only thought about this just before the live stream, but a triangle is still on. It's a little bit early. I would still like to see an ABC up and then a 3-wave down and then continue. Now, mind you again, an ABC up is bearish. You're either going to be looking at an ending diagonal in 5, right? So ABC, this is then a bigger wave 1. Then you get a move down in 2, 3, 4, 5. But ending diagonal, it's too early to talk diagonals like that. And they're not even that common. So A, B is C gives a higher probability to come back down. In other words, the flat. This red line. This then has your higher probability if you form a triangle here. A triangle is a wave that precedes the final move. Or it's a wave Y or a wave Z, which is the final move. But commonly, a triangle appears in a wave B in front of C, wave X in front of Y, right? Or Z, wave 4 in front of 5, meaning the next move tends to be the final move. And the reason I thought about this scenario is also this move down. Like, I'm not a big fan of counting a multi-1-2 here. It's just not, it's not the typical structure for me to count a nice multi-1-2. And if we do continue down, then 89k is going to be easy, basically. So in a way, this feels more corrective. Every move that we had to the downside has been almost bought up immediately. We have consistent, pretty high bounces to the upside. And of course, wave 2s tend to retrace deep. Volume is still increasing. Price action is bearish. As long as you do not take out 106.9k, it's a little bit tricky to be very bullish now. We had very big bearish CVD divergences here at the high as well, right? Everyone that is buying the Trump pump had a little bit of a problem here because they got absorbed and price moved to the downside. Yeah? Now take out this high before taking out the low again invalidates a multi 1-2, right? 106.9. So that's a nice level to keep in mind. Right, so we don't want to actually take out the low before taking out the high. Taking out the high, yeah, we can look for a continuation of the range, but probabilities are higher to take out the all-time high at the later stage. And one of the scenarios I locally keep an eye on is a triangle, just in case. Just in case. Okay. So that's an ABC, which of course is a bearish scenario. Now the alternative... Right. Wait, I go to the weekly. I wanted to actually have, I wanted to click on the WXY, but clicked on the W of weekly. So we have a WX. Okay. X is a flat. That's fine. Right. So we have a flat. So in this case, we then have a 3-wave. Mind you that this is also still bearish. You have an ABC up. Flat. And then another ABC. Now, as some of you may know, this move down touched the 886, it taken from the low to the high. First of all, I like to add that this does not increase probabilities per se to take out this low. It's not the right way of using the 886. The only information it gets you is probabilities are low. This is a wave 1. Because a wave 2 rarely ever retraces to the 886. It's incredibly rare. But in a triangle, as explained just now, A, B, C, D, E, and continue, the 886 can be a perfectly fine target. For a wave B, the 886 is also still a target. But you don't want to actually use the 886 over here from the low to the high to estimate probabilities to take out this low. The only relevant 886 that gives you higher probabilities to take a certain high or low is the 886 taken from this high to the low, right? Or from this low at the moment to the local high to see if you continue the trend, yes or no. Now, in this case, you then have a double zigzag to the upside with your wave X touching the 0.382 Fibonacci, the blue X, taken from start to end of W. 0.382, more common for corrective structure. It's less common for an impulse. It happens. It's still a target. Impulsive wave 2. But if you would move to the upside now, then this is higher probability ABC. And then guess what? You're going to look back at this scenario again. You know what I mean? So you have two corrective options to the upside at the moment. You count this as a W, X, and ABC and a Y. Bearish, because you expect price to then retrace, right? Get another deeper retracement. The red line is your highest probability, but you can still get a running flat. A, B, C. C has to just be a 5-wave move, and there you go back up. Right? It's a running flat. The other scenario, A, look for B, C, with B having the potential at least of being a triangle structure, which would be bearish, because a 5, a 3, a 5 still makes you go down later. Right? So in other words, you're still looking for price to come back down afterwards. Right? But in those two scenarios, W, X, Y, and A, B, C, at least you take out the high, no? And for the bulls, it becomes a little bit tricky, right? Like this has to be a higher probability corrective top, which is true. But if we want to count some sort of a finished structure here, then this just doesn't look great as an impulse. I can't. That would be a hindsight multi 1-2. I prefer WXY in here. Is there any scenario to not take the high? Yes, there is. Which again is going to be the same. But then your wave B here is going to be on the high. But then this has to be a finished ABC or a finished WXY. And in both cases, your wave C or your wave Y did not even meet the minimum target for a Y or C. It's already a rare target to touch the 618 for a Y or C. So it's not really something that shouts high probabilities. Know what I mean? You would actually like to see price moving up first before getting the move down, honestly. If this is a wave C or a wave Y, then yeah, your absolute minimum target is taking the high of your W or A, but it's very short compared to your W or your A. So you actually want price to still move higher. So probability wise, it's not the highest probabilities that you already have a flat B in and you look for a bigger C down. Also, this move to the downside, and I keep repeating it, I don't know, like this is if price takes out this high, then yeah, probability is higher to take all-time high. That's the technical thing. But from an Elliott wave point of view, this doesn't really look like a great multi 1-2. I can't wrap my head around this being a great multi 1-2. It appears very, very corrective, very WXY-ish, very, very bouncy. I mean, 3 correction. 3 correction 3. Arguably you have then your W, right? A, B, C, right? Running flat, and then another A, B, C down, ending on a high amount of volume. And then impulse up, bit of correction, maybe a second leg. But as long as you don't take 107, you're still in bearish market structure. What's CVD doing? Bit of bullish CVD. Yeah, I don't really like to count a multi 1-2 here until proven otherwise. It's not really. I don't really like it as a primary count. I do like to look at this being a corrective structure, but that then brings us to a triangle A B C D E up, or you have a WXY, and then you look for another move up and then later come back down. It's too bearish scenario. Can we? Well, let me have a look here. Can we get a bit of a bullish scenario in here? Like, is there any chance for an impulse? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like, of course. I find it difficult to put wave 1 here. Also, due to this has to be your wave 2, this has to be your 4. 4 is over 6 times longer than 2, so that's not great. It looks more 3-wavy than impulsive, by all means. 1, 2, 3. No, so I don't. If we count an impulse in here, I preferably count it as a 1. But then 2, yeah, flat ABC, alternatively WX, and then you need a Y, but Y needs to be a triangle or a flat. Well, it's not a flat, really. And for a triangle, you need A, B, C, D, E. The problem with the triangle is that wave A then is complex, which is incredibly rare. So it's very tricky to count a nice impulse. The probabilities are not really on the side of a nice wave 1, 2 and continuation to the upside. Your best bet would count a 1, 2, 1, 2 up, but then you hit the 886, which is low probabilities. It's difficult to be, yeah, you're at all-time highs, but it's actually pretty difficult to be incredibly bullish with this move to the upside. So what's the conclusion? Because it's lots of talking. Let's get to the probabilities and the conclusion here. So on a daily time frame, look, we're still looking for higher prices on the higher time frame. Right, keep it simple, right? If you're a high time frame trader and high time frame like type of guide, and I'm not a financial advisor, but on a higher time frame, the probabilities remain higher to look for higher, as the probabilities are higher that this top is a corrective top, not an impulsive top. So it's labeled as a B or as an X. Right? Potentially the start of an ending diagonal in a 5, but it's way too early, so it doesn't really matter. So the probabilities are still higher for higher prices, unrelated to the very local low time frame price action. Right? And then locally on the 1 hour, it's actually not too great for bulls. So your higher, at the moment, your higher probability scenarios here all lead to a future retracement. So 5, A, B, C, with B at least the potential of a triangle, continue the range. Then get a wave C, move to 111, 116, and then go back down. So at least upside, you take out this high, which is then labeled as a wave B in a triangle, for example. This move down, higher probability it's corrective. I don't feel that move down as a multi 1-2 at the moment. Like, it's lots of overlap, big bounces. I'm happy to be proven wrong, but it doesn't feel like a multi 1-2 in how I've seen them more often than not. If you do get a wave 3 to the downside, so 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and you do get a 3, big retracement. I have seen some expanding diagonal structures, but expanding diagonals are always rare, never preferred unless everything else fails. So I don't really like to count an expanding structure there. But yeah, you have your A, B, C retracement, W, X, Y retracement, right? Another one, W, X, Y retracement. So it all leads to retracements. Yes, you take out the all-time high still, right? Probabilities remain higher to take out this high at the later stage. But you got to be so aware of a retracement. And then for the bulls, probabilities are low that this is the end of a wave 1. Probabilities are high that if you want to end a wave 1, it's either here or here. However, from an Elliott wave point of view, it works better at this top. Now, if all of this is a wave 2, then because you took out the high here, you either need to label this a wave B or an X. Now, if this is a wave B, you need a wave C down. Most commonly it takes out the low, expanding flat, regular flat, meaning this is a C. At the moment, it is a running flat because you didn't take out the low. So actually, your most bullish scenario would be 2 being a running flat. And the low of your 2 is then finished, and pop, on you go. No retracement, you just fly. Now, by all means, the probabilities then are still higher to take out the high. You just don't get the retracement after. So then you just fly. But now you have a running flat in a 2, and I mean, your wave C has to be some expanding diagonal shenanigans here. Right? Never preferred unless everything else fails. In other words, probabilities are higher. This is a WXY corrective structure compared to it being a wave 2, wave C. So A, B, C. C needs to be a 5 wave, not a 3 wave. Right? Yeah, that's probably how I would approach it. I wouldn't like another 1-2 here because 2 is so deep, touching the 886. 886 very rare for 2, taken from the low to the high. Incredibly rare to see a wave 2 go to the 886 here. Yeah. So, and other than that, if this is, I'm thinking at the same time, W, X, Y, then Y starts with a triangle A, B, C, D, E, but A then is a complex structure, low probabilities, and W, X, Y, Y then needs to be a flat, but we don't have a flat. So a W, X, Y here doesn't look great. A, B, C would be the option, which is a running flat. It's not really high probabilities. Alternatively, you of course have a finish 2, and this is another 1 2. The issue then is that you touch the 886. So the problem for the bulls is that, yes, are there scenarios for upside? Yeah, sure. Yeah, you got a 1 2 here with a running flat in a 2, but a very ugly wave C if so. Or you got a multi 1 2 where your second 2 hit the 886. And then you just fly up in a wave 3. Absolutely possible. But from a probabilities perspective, it makes more sense at the moment that you look at a WXY and then a retracement. Or you have A, B, C, and then a retracement. So by all means, the next move up, if you finish so whatever, like you can still have the triangle here, right? Like a triangle, A, B, C, D, blah, blah. But once you start with another impulse up, which eventually we'll get, once you finish 5 waves, there is the possibility that that next high is going to be a wave C or a wave Y of a bigger wave B of a bigger expanding flat. And down you go. Time is always a guideline, so we can't necessarily invalidate things by time, but yes, like if this is a finish 2, it's very short. That's correct. So then a running flat would be better than labeling a multi 1 2 here. A running flat is also not too great. So summary, probabilities on the daily remain higher to take out this high, right? So the bias, the Elliott wave probabilities, the directional bias, I suppose, on a daily time frame remains higher to take out this high at a later stage, right? Unrelated to local range and price action and whatnot. However, if you really already want to label this the high, you go down for a much deeper retracement, you actually need an impulsive structure to the downside locally on the 15. So you want this to be an impulse down, but it's a struggle to count it as an impulse. It needs to be either an expanding diagonal of some sort, which is rare and never preferred, or a multi 1 2, but I don't really feel this as a multi 1 2. I don't know, I can't wrap my head around it as a multi 1 2. I've seen many great multi 1 2s. I've traded many great multi 1 2s. Most notably was a multi 1 2 here. But this here, every move down, big bounce up. I don't know. I'm not really feeling a multi 1 2 here so far. So in other words, it decreases the probabilities that this is an expanding or regular flat wave B, and you're already in a wave C down and you go to much lower prices. In other words, probabilities are higher that this is corrective, right? And then if the probabilities are higher that this is corrective, then of course it increases probabilities to continue ranging, but still find another high. But the moment you take out the high again, if you finish a 5-wave impulse, very, very, very aware of these being the end of a wave C, Y, and an expanding flat to lower. And preferably, price takes out 106.9 before the low. If you do that, then the multi 1 2 to the downside is invalidated. You're looking at a ranging structure or corrective, whatever, and then you take out the high. So we haven't changed market structure yet. We're still in a local downtrend. Volume is still increasing with every new low we make. Don't get me wrong. It's still a bearish trend to the downside. But from an Elliott wave point of view, I just don't like this as a multi 1 2. It's such an ugly multi 1 2. I don't mind having a 1 or A, B. Wait, well, that was weird. So A, get a bit of a retracement in a B or a 2, and then go back up, take that out, continue the range, and then continue up later. So that's the probabilities at the moment. Is on the daily time frame, the probability is still higher to take out the high. Probabilities are higher. This high is either a wave B or a wave X. And then on the 1 hour, the probabilities at the moment are not higher for this to be a great multi 1 2. It's a very ugly price action last couple of days. At the moment, A, B, C, WXY have a higher probability, which in both cases lead to a retracement, with the alternative being the bullish scenario where you just look for continuation. Now, by all means, in all cases, you look for price to take out the high, at least before taking out the low. So, you're still looking for upside, but one has to be very patient to try and find great entries for such moves to the upside. And that's basically it. No, with regards to support and resistance, I don't know. I don't have a lot going on in where we are at the moment. If I put on my levels for you, then you can see we hit the daily. That's something, but all the other stuff is happening below the recent low. Over here, I don't actually have a lot going on. Now, I expect that tomorrow we will have a daily naked point of control somewhere here. I would assume, at least. Let me actually check. This is not ATAS, but let me have a... Yeah, so currently the highest amount of volume is here, as expected. So I guess we will have a daily naked point of control resistance all the way up here. Up. But, yeah. Doesn't really feel multi 1-2-ish. Yeah. Bearish CVDs played out at the all-time high. Bit of bullish CVDs here at the low now, but of course we did have an 886 touch. So from a CVD perspective, I'm more interested in new structure. So focusing with CVD on the newest price action. And if you can get some bullish market structure, of course, take out this high. Probabilities are higher. This bullish CVD will play out and price will take out that high. So if you get a flat retracement, then preferably you take out at least 89. But look, I don't want to really talk too much about bearish price action, because on the daily, mind you, like we can talk about the flat, of course, all we want. The thing is, your probabilities are still higher that this high is not yet the end of a B. Even in a bearish scenario, you preferably still look for higher. And then if you move up, we'll know what's next. Most importantly is once you're on the 1 hour, get another move to the upside, which is an impulse. Just by all means, right? Like unrelated to if you're mega bullish or super bearish, right? It doesn't really matter. Eventually you're going to get another impulse up anyway. So once you get another impulse to the upside and you can count 5 waves, which of course on the channel we'll be able to count 5 waves. But once we do, we at least have to be very aware of the fact that this can indeed be either your ABC finished, your WXY finished, right? Of a bigger flat wave B, which is this. It's just awareness, right? It's level by level trading, basically, wave by wave, one might actually say, instead of level by level, right? You want to trade the impulse, you want to trade 5 waves up, and then once wave 5 is finished, why waste your money, paper profits going down by waiting for a wave 2? You can as well. No financial advice, but I like taking profit. So and sometimes I may be too early, but better be safe than sorry. So yeah, probabilities are higher on the daily to still take out this high. Probabilities are higher. This high is either a wave B or a wave X, which is corrective, meaning probabilities that this move to the downside has a higher probability of also being corrective, which in turn increases probabilities to take out the high. Locally, this move to the downside counts difficult as a multi 1-2, which increases the probabilities that this is a corrective structure, not an impulsive structure, decreasing the probabilities for this to be an ABC flat. If flat, then a running flat, preferably already finished, ABC, and then you continue up, right, impulsively. Alternatively, WXY, ABC, most bullish is quite simply 1-2, and on you go. So, yeah, probabilities at the moment, due to this being higher probability corrective, probabilities would be higher to continue ranging. And of course, we have a little bit of support still, but I don't really know if you want to take out this low. If you take out this low, then 94K is next support. If this counts as a WXY, which it does do like a zigzag combo structure, probabilities are higher to take out the high without taking the low, by the way. So from a probability standpoint, if we do not count this move down as a high probability multi 1-2 because of all the retracements back up all the time, and seeing a double, triple 1-2, yeah, that happens, but eventually you just need a waterfall, like a very strong move down, like what you had here. That's what you want. This was a 1-2, 1-2, couple of low time frame 1-2s, and then boom, you get a quick move down. You break the structure, you break below the previous range, then you get all your 4-5s, right? I mean, and here, where's the flush? I'm waiting for, or not. I'm not waiting for the flush. But if you're looking for a C flat, then yeah, I am waiting for it. But we're just ranging. So lower probabilities. This is a multi 1-2. And it increases probabilities of corrective stuff, which leads to zigzag family stuff, which leads to looking for the highs to come. If price takes 106.9k, probabilities are higher to take the high because you invalidate a multi 1-2 to the downside. An expanding diagonal here is not preferred unless everything else fails, because expanding diagonals are always rare. So that is why we'll not count an expanding diagonal here for a wave 1, 2, and a 3, as long as that is not necessary. By all means, by the way, even if you do, this is still counted as a wave B, and you still look for higher prices later. You just got to make sure that you don't get wrecked if you do get a C to the downside. So that's the probabilities for you. Daily time frame, higher probabilities to take the high. And on the 1 hour time frame, ABC, WXY, 1, 2, 3, you're all still looking for price to take out that high. Probability is not great for this to be a multi 1-2. Probability is higher at the moment. It's corrective stuff. Increases probabilities to continue ranging. The rest of the week is pretty calm. I mean, only on Friday we have some news. It's calm from a news perspective. Last week was quite hectic. Yeah. So let's see what we get. Tricky price action last couple of days, which of course is interesting to count. Not great to trade though. This was incredibly messy. Right now, once you see this, in the morning video, of course, in the update, this is a news thing. I tend to say during streams though, but when you get such pumps during news, you just tend to retrace it, and then you hit the 0.618. I don't know exactly where. I think we did it here. No wave 4 anymore. So yeah, you blinded me. Oh yeah, some people will be in bed and then see the wide screen of the news. What's up? Hey, wait a minute. Legionario, why? What's up, man? Legionario has been here for such a long time already. And welcome to Diamond, man. Thanks for supporting the channel. Welcome to the team. Hopefully it will be fruitful, enjoyable, and we'll get you sorted. So make sure to fill in the form, the membership form, and then we will get you sorted very, very soon. YouTube notification keeps you awake during the night. Why would you not count the last peak as 5? This way you can count the structure before as a clear flat. The 4 and 1 do not overlap for like a millimeter. The last peak as a 5. I'm not really sure which peak you mean. It depends on the time frame, but I guess I can explain it for each time frame. Lower probability, this is a 5 because of wave 4 being incredibly short. This wave 4 in blue compared to the blue wave 2, which is down there. So that lowers the probabilities. And on the 1 hour time frame, I don't really know. I'm not sure if you mean this one, but ending a wave 5 here means, of course, you need a 5 wave impulse. The problem is that this then is your 4, right? This is then counted as 4. But your wave 2 needs to be somewhere here. With 4 is over 6 times longer in time than 2, which is very, very, very rare. So it's not high probabilities. You can count a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a 5 to make this the end of an impulse. Yeah. And also because of how long this retracement is in time compared to previous ranges, plus how deep it went, can't be counted as a wave 4 anymore, with this being a 2 because it went too deep. It increases the probabilities that you already finished something earlier before this retracement, and that this move up therefore is a B or an X. Of course, most bullish would be another 1, but you touch the 886 down here, so yeah. Expanding down to the downside. It's an option. I don't really like to go to 1 minute, 3 minute stuff. Like I prefer 15-minute as low as it goes. You know, like I'm not a big fan of going to the very, very low time frame. An expanding diagonal here, right? Besides the fact that indeed very rare would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we can have a little look if at least it is valid. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, not that way at least. So if you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then your 4 is shorter than your 2. Is that correct? No, bigger. It's bigger, right? Yeah, okay. Never mind, it's bigger, so that's good. Now this is of course your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Your 5 has to be longer than your 3, which we can just see by eye. And then preferably, of course, you get a high retracement, right? So you want to see a high leg up. At the moment, you only touch the 302, but after a diagonal, the retracement in a wave 2, right, is more commonly a deep retracement. So, yeah. Look, for the bulls, it's quite simple. You need to take 107. We can start looking for all-time highs if we do. At the moment, bearish market structure, high volume in the low. It's just a multi-1-2 here is messy. Expanding diagonal possible, but preferably a bigger retracement up, 3-wave corrective structure. CVDs, anything here? Loading. No. It's too young. Bit of bullish CVD, but it's not really relevant to me. It's still very, very young. So, yeah, I'm not feeling this as a multi-1-2, to be honest. Yeah, and that is, and then you start thinking about wave X here as a WXY wave X, and then you look for a wave Y up, or a B, A, B, C, right? So A, B, WXY, C, or a triangle. Hi from Mexico. What's up, Eric? Upwards to the 1 was not very impulsive. What's up, Ogu? I guess for the bearish knife, if we use the 0.3 you numbered in bullish as the top, you get flat as wave A. If you put the top here, then this counts best as a 3-wave. So then we would look for a W, X, A, B, C up in Y, and then go back down after. What's up, Jeffrey? How you doing, man? What's up, Dayon? Welcome. Bayun. We answered that one. Snowstorm also. I saw the Trump one. Will be another stream because I gotta move. You know. What's up, John? Trade safe, John. Man. Look at the monthly. Monthly barely ever changes. You know, it's not really much going on, to be honest. So in the end, the local price action, that's the tradable price action. So I have my monthly time frame analysis in the macro folder on my YouTube channel. Preferably for a flat, you would look below 89, but running flat is in the 90s. And then you quite simply, there's still some boxes here. I still have support, so I'll just be interested to look for, if we do get down there, how. But I'm not a big fan of a multi 1-2 here. Expanding diagonal option, but 1-2 you need a 3, 4, 5. So yeah, it should be very deep moves. At the moment, it looks better as a corrective move down, which then this labels better as a B for an ABC up, C in a triangle, complex structure, complex zigzag in a C. Why couldn't it be ABC with an expanded flat? Because you can't finish wave A here nicely, because A is a 3 wave, so then you look for a WXY. What's up, Ice Cubes lady? Yeah, this is a 2 that's indeed very short. So preferably you're correct for a longer period of time. But the moment you take the high, you got to think of a flat, but then this has to be a wave C, which, I mean, if it is, you also still look for price to take the high, which of course, by all means, higher probabilities on a higher time frame, so unrelated to local price action, remains taking out the high. Gabriel. I remember that for the first time, I think last week, I heard you write down bullish for the first time. Nice to see you back being bearish. What's up, Tim? Can we go down there to take the low? 99.5 to get a better 1-2 setup. I mean, can you? You always can. It's probabilities. But then this has to be a C. A, B, C. I'm not, yeah. I don't know, I'm not a fan of this being a C or like maybe, yeah, multi 1-2. It's such an ugly structure. Such an ugly, like John says, price action the last few days has been trash, except for price touching support and moving up. That was a good move. But this is an incredibly ugly structure. A lot of overlap. Doesn't really give the great impulsivity for a multi 1-2. Where's the wave 3? Right? We have a quadruple 1-2 already. Like, how many do we need? Right? If this is if these are 4 1-2s, holy moly, we should get the biggest dump. Biggest dump. But that's not great probability. So then, yeah, you need to go to an expanded diagonal in a 1, but an expanding diagonal is very rare. It's never preferred. So then you are like, okay, what's next? Well, then you go to WXY and zigzag family structures. But if this is a WXY, you're going to label this as either a wave X, wave B, wave C. So, yeah. And then you don't actually really want to take out this low. What's up, Yusuf? Probabilities on the higher time frames remain higher to still look for higher. So that's the thing. When you get such massive price action, it's not great to, count local structures. When is your book? Well, nice that you finished it. It should be in the middle of this year, but yeah, I'm working as hard as I can, but on the Elliott Wave Compendium. But I really first need to get us settled in France. Like, the fucking paperwork in this country is driving me absolutely bonkers, let me tell you, man. Like, it's like, I don't know in what century the French live with the government, but holy fuck, man. Like, can't you like automate some stuff and, get some shit sorted in that department? Because holy, it drives me crazy. Crazy, man. Like, wow, it's not the Netherlands, that's for sure. Shit. Man, it drives me fucking crazy. Like, there's so much to do, man. Like, so much to show and give and research and then give it again, because by the time they're actually ready, it's outdated again, and you got to do it again and request things to my accountant again. And oh my, man. Like, I'm happy when that's finished. Like, it's because of all that shit, it's difficult to actually get to work. So, oh man. Doma, I love the south of France, by the way. Best choice, best area. I love living here, but settling here, moving, it is still active, Sarah. Absolutely. I have seen an email coming in, but yeah, it's not easy at the moment to get to everything because there's a lot happening in the background, and I struggle to even find time for myself, like read a book, develop myself, follow a course, go for a hike. Like, I like doing sports, so I try to do as much sports as I can. I love going to the gym and go for a run, but no, because of some like stuff that needs to happen, it's actually really difficult to control all of the things that are happening. And of course, once you have a to-do list, some people here will know, things add up. Like, you can't yet finish that number one point, and then other things are coming in, and your to-do list only gets longer, and you're like, holy shit, what's happening? Oscar, welcome. Greetings from Canada. Welcome to the team, Oscar. So you completed the form, then you should be sorted soon by probably Jeroen. He's the one doing the memberships. But welcome, man. Welcome to the Silver Squad. All the updates. In the last red candle on the down. Oh. If they are different, they always work together. But if you're in an uptrend, you prefer bullish CVDs. When you're in a downtrend, bearish CVDs. Makes life easy, I suppose. But use CVD in confluence with other tools. That's most important. It's an extra tool. It's incredibly powerful. It's the best tool I have ever used, period. I love it. But just make sure you practice with it a bit. Trust patterns. On the 1 hour, I've done the analysis already. I gotta slowly end the stream. Oh, what's happening here? I'm always curious. BTC, probably 4 times. Plan BTC now. Nice. What about we have a flat wave 4, wave 5 for the final? Yeah, but this being a flat 4 is too deep, guys. It's too deep. This is not wave 4 in my opinion. It's too deep because this has to be your 2. All of this is your 4, which is too big, first of all, in time, and it's too deep. And we can't count this as a 4 compared to this being a 2 because your 4 is too big in time. So you would like to see a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but 4 is too big. Too big in time, too big in price, retrace too far. So in other words, we can't count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This here, for me, is not a 4 anymore, in my analysis at least. So I count a finish structure here, which is either, I already spoke about, we're either looking for ABC, WXY, 1, 2, 3. It's basically similar price action, but you're not really looking for price taking the low already. You're looking for price to take the high first. And then depending on the move up, if you finish eventually, at some point, a 5-wave impulsive structure, be very aware that this could be the top of a flat B and you go back down. And that's your bearish scenario. Yeah, sorry guys. At least it's not Spain. I don't know. I don't know. I don't like the amount of paperwork that comes with, especially because if you're an entrepreneur, you got to set up your businesses. Like, I can't have a BV in the Netherlands and then live in another country. The owner of the company needs to live in a country as well. I do have a BV in the Netherlands still, but yeah, you gotta move all your stuff, and then it just takes time, man. But I don't know the situation in other countries, but it's not fun. I always hate all that administrative stuff. Like, man. Oh. Alts will be another day. So I gotta go. I also want to get to sleep. Have a good night. Is CVD on TradingView accurate? No. I haven't found any CVD yet on TradingView that's good. Is Trump pumping our bags? No, it's actually just people buying. Not news can be maybe a bit of a catalyst, but for me it's not. It's all technical analysis. It's the same as people call it the breakout of 73K all-time high, a Trump pump. Here, this one. And then I'm like, well, it's great that you're buying here, but we were already looking for a breakout over here. So, well, in the end, it's fundamental analysis can be very profitable. Don't get me wrong. Anything can work. Fundamental analysis, moon analysis, water levels analysis, whatever you want to use, trend lines, patterns, Elliott waves. Everything can work. But my analysis is 0% fundamentals, 100% technical. It does give us some volatility. I do keep an eye on news just for the sake of volatility, because I know that price does like to be volatile around these hours. So I keep an eye on that website just to be sure, like, there might be some crazy stuff happening. So at least I want to be safe. Where do I get the CVD for Solana? It's actually in Discord in the Good to Know channel. There you go. Koen, think about an US LLC. Yeah, I don't know. I now I'm working on setting up an SARL, which is in France, because of course I live in France. So Mario, what's up? How you doing, man? Tomorrow the chart will also be volatile because the markets were closed, but Trump was doing his thing. Yeah, likely. Which sub do I need to get that? No, it's for free. Discord is for free, and it's a great place. Like the people in Discord, the whole community there is amazing. I love being in Discord. I chat a lot in our Discord, so it's in the description. So check it out, or either the first link, like Discord, like there's a thing below in the description, or click on the LINKTREE and then go to Discord. Oh, it's public. It's free. You can live anywhere as an owner of the LLC. Interesting. Can Bitcoin go even higher? Yes. Probabilities are higher. This is a corrective top at the moment, not an impulsive top. So either this being labeled as wave A for a BC if you talk about a 5, a 3, 5, but okay. But by all means, probabilities are higher that you're still taking out that high at a later stage. Started at the 17th of Jan. Ended here. And then 5 up. Yeah, but then, yeah. But then this is counted as an ABC, right? But then your C has ended before the 0.618 really minimum target for a C. Or you want to count this as a 1, a 2, and then 3, 4, 5, but then 2 hit the 886. So from a probabilities perspective, it's a little bit difficult to count a nice end here because C or Y would be very short. And if you count another 1, 2 here, then 2 hit the 886, which is a pain in the ass as well. What's going to happen in crypto? Higher prices still in the future. I do look forward to topping out in a bear market, actually. Like we've been going strong since 15K. Pretty good. But all the hype, the media, the newspapers, the this, the that's, you start to feel from a market psychology point of view that it's that time for a flush. You know what I mean? Like you're now in the hype era, right? Each wave, an impulsive wave, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, they all have psychological characteristics. One is the wave where no one takes it serious. 2 is, you see, we didn't finish correcting, down we go again. Then you have 3, which is like you believe, right? 4 is disbelief, right? Just a short retracement. And then 5 is euphoria and everything is amazing and perfect and we can't go down anymore and target is the moon and whatnot. And then you end 5 and you go down and you bring everyone down with it. So does it work well with Solana? It's the Solana CVD, and it's then, of course, up to you to use it in your strategy. Yeah. Is Binance good? For some people it will work, for others it won't. For me, I don't like Binance. I don't know. It's something from the very start. When I started trading, Binance always lagged out when there was great volatility, which was shit. So yeah, I never used Binance after that. Look, of course, with suggestions, it's good to find your own platform. I personally look, of course, I mean. It's not that I'm biased, but of course I can say what I use, and I use Blowfin, and I'm happy trading there. But yeah, you can try and use Bybit, Binance. People can use BingX, MEXC, but I use Blowfin. And of course, as I use that one, it's the one that I trade on Blowfin, so it's also the one that I have on my channel as a partner. I only share what I use. So I can't recommend anything I don't use, you know what I mean? So of course there's an affiliate link and everyone knows how it works. And if you register, you support the channel as well. So thanks for supporting if you do. Or you just Google and you check it out yourself. Okay, your favorite analyst of. Yeah, the alts will come in another live stream. Yeah, Ta, it's time for me to go. So I got to put in the timestamp in the VOD. I guess we started quite quickly, like 12, 15 minutes, 10 minutes. As a leading or ending diagonal from 89. Well, if this is a leading or ending diagonal, you need, first of all, 5 waves and you need overlap. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Which would mean an expanding diagonal, but expanding diagonals are incredibly rare. The higher time frame you go, the more rare they become. So we can't give it the highest probabilities. That's a probabilities thing. So, and of course, each of the waves need to either be 5, 1, 3, and 5 need to either be an impulse or 3 wave structures. But yeah, you can count one. It's just probabilities. Elliott wave probabilities are not great for expanding structures. So, any chance of counting a start of an impulse and run from the 100K low? This one here, yeah, you could count a potential A. I wouldn't really like to count this as a 1 because then your 2 came to the 886. But yeah, I don't like being on the low time frame. But in that case, it would be 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. And then your 5 is the extended wave. Because this is very messy. You can count a double 1, 2 in there, have a double 4, and then your final 5. And that is then your preferably A, B, C up. Alternatively, of course, another 1, 2. How many hours a day do you devote to trade? Well, I preferably trade like I make my plan in the morning. I'm very rigorous with my plan, so I write everything down, preferably before the morning update video. And then after I write everything down, it's just set my alarms and see if my plan gets accepted. And the thing is that once you have a plan, of course, the execution shouldn't take a lot of time. If I can, I would like to set limits because psychology is my weakest element in my trading, and I know. And even though I have ways to limit those type of mistakes, having limit orders without having any alarms definitely help because the chart just does. And then during the day, I just do other stuff. I don't even look at the chart. So it's about the plan and sticking to the plan, which can be a challenge at times. But making the plan So first of all, analysis, which I do for myself as well, and also for you guys. Then I need to do my own plan. So I have different boxes and I write down my general feeling, stuff I can improve on, my trading setups I'm looking for, when I'm entering, my trade management, how I would manage the trades if I enter. And I write everything down. And then once I'm finished with that, I guess it takes a total of, so analysis, 1.5 hours or something. And then the execution, either I like to put in a limit and then be done with it, or I set an alarm if I need a market entry. And then try to limit fuck-ups, which can be a challenge sometimes. Yeah. And sometimes I have the most amazing weeks, and then sometimes you have like these days where you fuck up and then everything goes to shit. You know what I mean? Okay. How do I paste this template for CVD in TradingView? You don't. You need AGGR, which is not a download. It's just a website. Please just read this. AGGR website, AGGR CVD sold template, and then for the steps to get the template in, just read this here. So it's all in the good to know section. It's just that the steps are a little bit lower here. Is it possible a Bitcoin makes a B wave on the 4-hour time frame? We get a triangle in C. No, a wave C can only be a 5-wave impulsive structure or a motive wave structure, like a diagonal or a 5-wave impulse. But wave C cannot be a triangle. Wave Y can be a triangle, though. What's up, Bettina? How you doing? Okay, everyone. Whew, it's time for me to call it a night. Actually been here for a longer period than I initially planned, but I always like to live stream. So, but yeah, I have a lot on my mind with all the stuff that's happening here in the background. So tomorrow morning will of course be a new video. Let's see when I live stream tomorrow. I'm not sure if Forex is possible on AGGR, to be honest. Yo, what's up, Mr. Friends? Oh, I wrote you messages, by the way, Mr. Friends. But yeah, it's time for me to head to bed. Have a good night's sleep. Wake up with lots of energy and get kicking again. So trade safe, right? And tomorrow the markets are open again. So I believe today New York was closed. But yeah. Thanks for being here. Thanks for hanging out during this, for me, evening live stream. For some of you in America, it's, of course, daytime. Asia, nighttime, or maybe Australia, New Zealand, good morning. But yeah, thanks for being here. And I will see you again tomorrow, at least for the morning update video. So let's see where price is when I wake up.